من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون صدق الله العظيم. Honorable ulama kiram and my dear respected young friends, previously we have mentioned before Ramadan, we were talking about the different blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed humans with, and if we were to be grateful with them and use them bounties in the correct manner, then surely it will lead every person towards the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And out of them blessings, one we mentioned was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the divine books, the Quran, Injil, Tawrat, etc. If a person was to ponder in these books, contemplate in the books, read the books with an open mind, then surely these books will guide him towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's oneness. He will come to a conclusion that these books cannot be man-made. Especially the Quran, it will tell him clearly, it will guide him that this cannot be a word of a human. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Anbiya salam and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If somebody was to lend an attentive ear and listen to the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam without being prejudiced, without having a biased mindset, without being narrow-minded, then surely, without doubt, this person will be guided towards the truthfulness and he will come out of falsehood. And likewise, we mentioned that one great ni'mat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given each and every individual is the aql, intellect. This intellect is such a ni'mat that it has a capability that if it is used correctly, then a person will definitely be able to differentiate between falsehood and truth. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put inside this brain and this aql and this intellect, the salahiyat, the capability to differentiate between falsehood. A person can come to a conclusion and he will be able to, his mind will tell him what's right and what's wrong. But when a person falls into arrogance, when a person falls into ignorance, then this person, all these salahiyats, all these capabilities are taken away from him. They are snatched away from him. Now that person will go deep into ignorance, deep into arrogance, deep into darkness, whilst he doesn't even realize. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَمَن يَعْشُ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّدْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. That whoever is blinded from the remembrance of the most merciful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we appoint for him a devil and he is to him a companion. That now when a person becomes so arrogant and he is not ready to listen to the words of the Prophet, in fact his whole mission is to reject and to go against the Prophet, and at every junction he tries to oppose him, then these people, they go deep into ignorance, arrogance, etc., and they will never come onto a right path. So we mentioned this last time we were talking about this ayah. The ayah that we are talking about today is Inna Jalna fi anaqim aghlalan fahiya lil adqani fahum muqmahun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that surely we have placed iron collars on their necks. Inna Jalna, surely we have placed fi anaqim, in their necks, aghlalan, iron collars. Fahiya lil adqan, so they are reaching up to their chins. Fahum muqmahun, and their heads are forced to remain up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an example of why these people cannot accept Iman. Previously in the ayat he said, لَقَدْ حَقَّ الْقَوْلُ وَلَا أَكْثَرٍ فَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, that for the majority of them it has been decreed that they will not accept Iman. What's one of the reasons? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions one of the reasons is إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا فِي أَعْنَاقِهِمْ أَغْلَالًا, that we have put iron collars in their necks. In the old days, when there was a criminal or when there was a slave who had a habit of running away, etc., then for punishment they would put iron collars in their necks. And this iron collar was such that the hands would also be tied together, so a person would basically not be able to move freely. But in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that فَهِيَ إِلَى الْأَذْقَانِ, that the iron collar, if it's made from iron, there's a lot of weight. So you can imagine the iron collar will drag down onto his shoulders. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, فَهِيَ إِلَى الْأَذْقَانِ, that iron neck is pushed up onto their chins. So now they can't even, فَهُمْ مُقْمَهُونَ, their faces are raised up. And Mufassirin say, muqmahun means when a person's face is raised with his eyes closed. And they give the example of a camel, that when a camel drinks water, then after it's had enough water and it's taken away its thirst, then usually the camel looks up with his eyes closed. And they say this is mukmahun. This is what mukmahun is, meaning that that person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has now made him blind from the path. So imagine a person walking a path where he has got a collar on him and he can't see what's below, what's beneath. Then naturally, definitely, he's going to fall into a ditch. He's going to fall into a wrong place. He's going to slip. He's going to go into a wrong path. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given an example that those people who are opposing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who are going against the Quran, who are not ready to lend an attentive ear to the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then it is as though that they have a collar in their necks and they will not be able to walk on the path of Jannah. They will go astray and they will never come on the path. And this is one meaning, but some Mufassirin say no, there's a literal meaning to it. And the literal meaning is that once Abu Jahl was sat with his friends and his accomplices and his company, and out of them there was some people from the Makhzumi clan. So Abu Jahl made a oath. He took a qasam that if I see Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I will throw a rock on his head and literally kill him. So Rasulullah came and he was performing namaz and went in sajda. So Abu Jahl stood up with a rock. Allah Bagawi mentions that he stood up with a rock with the intention to go and hurt Rasulullah with the intention of killing him. So he went with this evil intention, and when he reached Rasulullah, he lifted the rock to throw at Rasulullah, and that rock got stuck onto his hand. And his hands got stuck into his neck. And this is what it means by aghlal. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused his hands to get stuck in his neck, and the rock got stuck in his hand. And all of a sudden he became so scared, he walked back, and they asked him what happened. He said, this is what happened. I was about to throw the rock, and all of a sudden, this happened. So the Makhzumi, and then when he went back to his friends, the rock fell out of his hands. So the Makhzumi picked the rock up and he said, I will do it. So he went forward. And when he went to do it, he said he became blinded. He couldn't see Rasulullah. He said, I could hear him praying namaz, but I couldn't see where he was. So he turned back and he came back as well. So the people asked, Yahua, what happened? So I went there and I could hear Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but I couldn't see him. I became blinded. And then he turned back. And some of us say this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about, that inna jalna fi anakim aghlalan, that for Abu Jahl we made his hands like a collar, and for the Makhzumi wa jalna min bayni aydihim saddan, we put like a barrier, he could not see. So anyway, this is one meaning that Mufassirin have said, and others say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is basically giving an example of the state of these people, that they have gone so deep into the arrogance and ignorance that it is as though there is a collar on their necks, and now they will not be able to see the path to Jannah, and they will remain in this darkness and in this on this path which will take them astray. The other example is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that we have وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا, that we have placed a barrier in front of them. وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا, and we have placed a barrier behind them. فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ, hence we have encircled them from all places, all directions. We have encircled them from the top, from above, from around, everywhere. فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ, hence they will not be able to see. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Mufassirin say that in this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to say that because of their arrogance and because of their ignorance, they have come to a stage where the path of salvation, the path of Jannah, the nur of Hidayat is not going to them. There is a barrier in front of them now. Their arrogance has reached such a state that in front of them they cannot see any nur, any light of Islam or Hidayat. In fact, it is like a person, he's in a room, he's locked up in a room, and there are many windows, and somebody goes to open the window to let some light in, and this person stands up and stamps to the window and closes the light. The person will go and open another window. The person stands up and closes that window and doesn't let the light come in. He goes and opens the third window. He goes and closes the window. He doesn't let the light come in. So naturally, after 3, 4, 5 attempts, that person will say, if you want to sit in the darkness, then let it be. I'm not going to open the window for you. In the same way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made so many opportunities for these people. For Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, there are so many opportunities for them to accept Islam, to bring Iman. But their arrogance, their pride was so much that every time Rasulullah brought a message to them, their arrogance always overtook them. And whenever the nur of Hidayat was coming, they blocked it for themselves. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that it's not that they didn't accept Islam it was because of their own kusur and their own problems and their own arrogance that they did not accept Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say, وَالسَّوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. And it is the same, whether it is equal, whether you warn them or you do not warn them, they will not believe you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not trying to tell Rasulullah that it's okay, don't send a message to them. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving Rasulullah some solace and comfort. Okay, don't worry, you carry on doing what you have to do. Whether because imagine Rasulullah putting all his energy, all his efforts, all his capabilities and mind behind this field. Bring iman, Qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihun, Qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihun. He's trying to make them understand from this angle, from that angle, telling them in this way, telling them privately, telling them as a jama'ah, but they're not ready to accept. Imagine when a person puts so much effort and they are arrogant and they say no to your face. And in fact, they are throwing stones on you. In fact, they are throwing rubbish at you. They are causing problems for you. The person that is telling you, I'm showing you the path of Jannah. And the same people that he's trying to take to Jannah are inflicting hardship on him, inflicting harm on him. Imagine what that person will feel in his heart. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving Rasul some solace. Don't worry. Whether you warn them or you don't warn them, they will not bring iman. But that doesn't mean that you stop warning them. This is a lesson for all the muballighin, for all those people who are propagating deen, whether it's from the mimbar, whether it's through Jamaat, whether it's through teaching the madrasa. Wherever you are, you will have a mix of students. You will have a mix of an audience. There will be some that will give you attentive ears straight away, and there will be some stubborn students. That doesn't mean that you leave them. In fact, you keep putting your effort behind them. Just like Allah SWT has mentioned in Rasulullah, the ayah is not trying to tell him that leave them. Those that listen to you, propagate the message to them, and those who are not giving heed, leave them, let them go on. No. Allah SWT is saying that we understand the feelings you are going through, but don't stop. Keep doing what your job is. Your job is to propagate. Ya Rasulu Ballil. Propagate. You keep propagating. Whether they accept or they don't accept, that's a different matter. But as your job, you keep propagating. We in madrasa, sometimes we have 20 students in the class. Out of them, 15 are very good. They pray their sabr, and 5 are causing problems in the class. 5 are not learning. That doesn't mean you chuck them out. No. In fact, you put more effort. Because why? The reason is that those that lend you attentive ear, then there's less effort behind them. So when there's less effort, there's less reward. And those who are not giving you attentive ear, those are stubborn, those are causing problems, what do you have to do? You have to put 10 times more effort. So if there's 10 times more effort, how much reward will you get? 10 times. So this is in your benefit. Allah SWT is saying, don't worry, if they are. Then the question arises that if they are not going to bring iman, when Allah SWT said clearly that for whom la yuminun, they're not going to bring iman, then what's the point in propagating? The question is, what's the point in propagating when they're going to bring iman? So inshallah, the Mufassir have given beautiful answers. When we read in tafsir and we come across the answers, our mind starts to, subhanAllah, because of their taqwa, their piety, their connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in their hearts such ulum that today when we read that ulum, we feel so enlightened, subhanAllah. These people answered our questions, these people answered our doubts. So inshallah, what the answers will we go through next week, inshallah. Why, even though we know that they're not going to bring iman, why should we still propagate? What are the two answers behind that? Inshallah, we will continue with that next week. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the correct understanding. Grant us the tawfiq to stay connected with the Quran. Alhamdulillah, we have seen in Ramadan that we have attached ourselves to the Quran. So don't disattach now. Stay connected. Like I mentioned before, that Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam once called Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As Ghaliban. I said, Ya Abdullah, la takun mithla fulan, kan yusalli bil-layl fataraka. He used to recite tahajjud, he used to recite qiyamul layl. Now he stopped. Don't be like him. Meaning whenever you start a noble act, even if it means that sometimes you don't have, that's how our Kabir say, that if your mashayikh have given you tasbiyat, so X amount of tasbiyat daily, 300, 400, 100, 200, jobio. And one particular day out of busyness, jobi, you couldn't do it, then don't leave it all together. At least do 10, 10, 10, 10. At least do 15, 15, 15, 15. But at least you have that. Hazrat Dr. Abdullah Yarifi Rahmatullah Ali, the day he was passing away, just the day he was passing away, just before he passed away, he made somebody, asked somebody to help him perform wuzu. After he performed wuzu, he asked Quran Sharif lao. The Quran Sharif was brought to him. He paid 2-3 ayats and then closed. Because imagine it was in the last moments of his life. Then he said, Alhamdulillah, Mahmud bi pura. Although daily he didn't pray 2-3 ayats, daily must have prayed so many paras. But because there was a continuity, I can't leave this without reciting any part of the Quran. So he opened the Quran, he prayed a few ayats, and then he closed the Quran and said, Alhamdulillah, Mahmud bi pura ho gaya. So likewise, after Ramadan, we have our busy schedules again, life is again busy running around. But that doesn't mean that we leave everything entirely. In fact, whatever we have started in Ramadan, continue with it. If it means that a lesser amount is better than 0. 1 is better than 0. Even if you can't pray 1 para, 1 ruku. But make sure that chain stays. Don't break the chain. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept what's been mentioned, what's been heard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to connect with the Quran and stay connected, make us Ahlullah, Ahlul Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Rasulullah mentioned one hadith that Ahlullah, Ahlul Quran, hum Ahlullah. That the people of the Quran, they are in reality the people of Allah. Hum Ahlullah wa khasatu, they are the special friends of Allah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq and the obedience to the Quran. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, bil alamin, sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam.